This portion of the news is brought to you by Ron Carter Cadillac.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rocio De La Fe with today's top headlines. The Wall Street Journal reports Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was listening in to the phone call between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine. The House Intelligence Committee issues a subpoena on Rudy Giuliani demanding he turn over documents as part of their investigation into the whistleblower complaint. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton criticizes President Trump's strategy on North Korea in his first public interview since Trump asked him to resign. Nearly 20 women were rescued by Nigerian police from so-called baby factories where their babies were sold for profit by their captors. And terrifying moments when a bridge collapses in Taiwan, crushing several boats beneath, with some crew fear trapped. Much more coming up only on NTV Houston. Breaking overnight, the Wall Street Journal is reporting Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was among the Trump officials listening in on the July 25th phone call with the president of Ukraine and President Trump. That is a call that is at the center of the impeachment inquiry against Trump and the center of the whistleblower complaint. Democrats have been moving quickly since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced last Tuesday that she was formally launching an impeachment inquiry. On Friday, 3 House committees announced that Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had been subpoenaed, and depositions had been scheduled for 5 other State Department officials. And the House Intelligence Committee has also issued a subpoena on President Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Democrats are demanding he turn over documents as part of their investigation by October 15th. This all after Democrats say Giuliani urged Ukrainian officials to launch an investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden and his son. Democrats cite comments that Giuliani made to CNN acknowledging that he had asked Ukraine to look into Joe Biden. The question now is whether he will cooperate. On an interview Monday night with Fox News Hannity, Giuliani reacted to the Democrats' latest action. Take a listen.
Oh, I don't know. I'm weighing the alternatives. I'll kind of like go through it. I'll get all my evidence together. I'll get my charts. I don't know if they let me use videotapes and tape recordings that I have. If they let me get some of the evidence that I gathered. And I have to tell you, Sean, all this nonsense about I was interfering in the election, I gathered all this evidence before the Mueller probe ended. So it was clearly under my responsibility as the lawyer for the President of the United States.
Former National Security Advisor John Bolton criticized President Trump's approach to North Korea yesterday in his first public speech since his abrupt split from the White House. Speaking at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, Bolton said North Korea will never give up its nuclear weapons under current conditions.
I think the strategic decision that Kim Jong-un is operating through is that he will do whatever he can to keep a deliverable nuclear weapons capability and to develop and enhance it further. He may try to get relief from international sanctions. He may make some concessions. But under current circumstances, he will never give up the nuclear weapons voluntarily.
Bolton didn't mention Trump by name, but his views were contrary to the president's strategy in trying to get North Korea to denuclearize.
Time works against those who oppose nuclear proliferation, and a relaxed attitude to time is a benefit to the likes of North Korea and Iran.
Meanwhile, the U.S. and North Korea have agreed to hold working-level talks this Saturday in a move that could break a deadlock in discussions aimed at ending Pyongyang's nuclear ambitions. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and President Trump agreed at a June 30th meeting in the border that divides the Korean peninsula to hold working-level talks in a matter of weeks, but the two sides have not met since then to discuss details of a deal. Little progress has been made toward an agreement on North Korea's nuclear program despite 3 meetings between the two leaders. Meanwhile, weapons experts said North Korea has been adding fissile material to its nuclear arsenal and improving its ability to launch ballistic missiles that could deliver nuclear warheads to the U.S. as well as its allies, Japan and South Korea. Let's go to a quick break, and when we come back, a Republican lawmaker pleads guilty in insider trading a day after resigning from Congress. And overseas in Finland, where a deadly attack at a college leaves at least 1 person dead and multiple injured. We'll be right back with the details.
The 2019 model year-end event now at Ron Carter Cadillac has been worth the wait. Enjoy our lowest payments of the year. Sign and drive new 2019 XT4 for just $359 a month, or new XT5 for just $379 a month, both for 39 months lease with just $1 down, or get 0.9% APR for 72 months on any 2019 Cadillac. Your only Houston area Cadillac to your door dealer. RonCarterCadillac.com.
Namaste everybody, I am Astro Guru from NTV Houston. There is a good news now. You can make the live call in our studio every Friday evening, where we will talk about astrology, numerology, horoscope reading, Vastu Shastra, gemstones, personal problem, marriage problem, horoscope match, or any health issues, business problem. Feel free to ask one question and be ready with your date of birth, birth time and birthplace, and you can talk to me in Hindi, English and Punjabi. Don't forget to watch Astro Guru only on NTV Houston.
GOP lawmaker Chris Collins submitted his resignation from Congress yesterday, effective today, after pleading guilty to federal charges in an insider trading case. As for the criminal charges, it's unclear what charges Collins will face. Federal prosecutors accuse him of giving inside trading information about an Australian biopharmaceutical company. Collins served on the board of that company and informed his son and an associate when the drug failed a drug trial, which was then used to trade on the stock of the pharmaceutical company. Collins previously pleaded not guilty to the charges twice. Now, to the violent attack at a college in Finland, at least one person is dead and 10 are hurt after witnesses told local media a man entered the college in the city of Kuopio carrying a sword and stabbed several people. Police have confirmed they have one person in custody and the wounded were taken to the hospital. At least 2 are in serious condition. Details of the attacks are still not immediately clear. Police have not revealed the motive for the violence. An investigation is underway. Finland is a relatively safe country but has had 2 deadly school attacks in the past 12 years. In 2007, a high school student shot and killed 8 people before turning the gun on himself. And in 2008, a 22-year-old college student shot dead 10 people before killing himself. 19 women have been rescued from illicit trade by police in Lagos, Nigeria. The women, some of them girls, were freed from the so-called baby factories. The victims are mostly abducted and impregnated by their captors, planning to sell their babies. And this is just terrific. Male babies are sold by traffickers for 500,000 Naira, which is a little over $1,600. Girls are sold for 300,000, or about $980. Police rescued the women, who are between the ages of 15 to 28, during a raid that took place mid-September. News of the raid had been kept secret to enable police to make arrests. 2 women were among those arrested. Police say they're still looking for a third. The news comes as about 400 boys and men, some as young as 5, were rescued from an Islamic school last week after they were found chained and scarred from beatings. Baby factories are common in parts of eastern Nigeria. The state has launched a criminal investigation and is working with other agencies to resettle the women, girls, and their babies. Today's China's Communist Party marks its 70th anniversary with a massive military parade in the capital. 15,000 military personnel took part in the parade. Weaponry, aircrafts, military equipment were all on display. Chinese President Xi Jinping gave a speech to the nation emphasizing strength and unity. And all of this as Hong Kong police fired tear gas at demonstrators fanned out across the city. Despite the strong police presence dispatched in an attempt to ensure that protesters do not overshadow celebrations in Beijing, thousands of protesters armed with umbrellas and poles took to the streets, defying a government ban on the rally. The city has been racked by nearly 4 months of street clashes and demonstrations, posing the gravest popular challenge to Chinese President Xi Jinping since he came to power. Protesters have vowed to seize on the 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China to propel their cause for greater democracy onto the international stage, hijacking an occasion Beijing sees as an opportunity to showcase China's economic and military progress. 6 people are missing after a bridge collapsed into a harbor in northeastern Taiwan, crushing several fishing boats, with some crew members feared trapped underneath the rubble. The bridge collapsed while an oil tanker vehicle was on it, causing a massive fire. New video shows the moment the bridge gave way, with smoke rising from the bridge as emergency vehicles and boats headed towards the scene of the collapse. Other social media footage showed a section of the collapsed bridge with water gushing out of the elevated highway connected to the bridge. 10 people were taken to the hospital, and the extent of their injuries is not known at this time. Coming up, Greek officials transfer migrants and refugees to the mainland after a deadly fire broke out in an overcrowded camp. And a new finding reveals cutting red meat from your diet may not have any health benefits at all. We'll tell you why coming up next.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service, striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Every day, law enforcement, firefighters, tow operators, and other emergency personnel risk their lives responding to calls for help. The Move Over or Slow Down law requires that you clear the lane closest to responding vehicles or reduce your speed to 20 miles per hour below the posted limit. Following this important law helps prevent crashes and saves lives. The next time you see flashing lights ahead, travel smart and move over or slow down. A road safety message from Houston TransStar.
Come see me, Salman, at Car Time Auto Repair at 10713 West Belford, Houston, Texas, 77099. Quality work that rivals any dealership. At Car Time, we don't replace parts, we fix cars. We pride ourselves on getting the job done right the first time. Car Time Auto Repair, located at 10713 West Belford. Call us today, 832-743-8180.
After a deadly fire at a migrant detention center in Greece, officials have moved 180 migrants and refugees to ease overcrowding. Violent clashes broke out Sunday, demanding to be transferred to the mainland due to overcrowded conditions after the fire inside a container used to house the migrants. The migrants were then transferred by ferry and placed in camps or other centers on the mainland. The country is witnessing a new surge in arrivals from Turkey. The UNHCR spokesperson on Lesbos said the situation is at its limits, adding there was a risk to safety. More than 12,000 migrants and refugees are at the Moria camp at the moment, but it's only intended to hold 2,300. Greek Prime Minister held a cabinet meeting on Monday where measures such as increasing transfer to the mainland, strengthening border patrols at sea, returning those whose asylum requests are rejected, and making the asylum system more efficient were discussed. For all the meat lovers out there, we have good news for you. Steak is back on the menu. New studies suggest cutting back on red and processed meat bring few, if any, health benefits at all. Now, this is all according to major evidence review that contradicts the dietary advice of leading international agencies.
Nutrition guidelines, we gathered a large international group of experts in nutrition and health research methodology to improve the quality of guidance on red and processed meat. We focused exclusively on health outcomes and chose to not consider animal welfare or environmental issues.
A panel of experts concluded that most people can continue to eat red and processed meat at an average intake, which is typically 3 or 4 times a week for adults. Researcher Bradley Johnson, who co-led the review, said the research showed there was no certainty that eating red or processed meat causes cancer, diabetes, or heart disease. Researchers from Canada, Spain, and Poland conducted a series of reviews of both randomized controlled trials and observational studies looking at the possible health impacts of eating red and processed meat. Among the randomized trials, which included around 54,000 people, they found no statistically significant link between eating meat and the risk of heart disease, diabetes, or cancer.
Further, amongst cohort studies following millions of participants, we did find a small reduction in risk amongst those who consumed 3 fewer servings of red or processed meat per week. However, the certainty of evidence was low to very low. Our bottom line recommendation, which is a weak recommendation based on low quality evidence, is that for the majority of people, but not everyone, continuing their red and processed meat consumption is the right approach.
And we're going to be right back after a short break with your forecast. Up next.
मनपसंद सुपरमार्केट जहां की फ्रेश वेजिटेबल्स, स्पाइसेस, फ्रोजन फूड आइटम्स आपको सबसे अच्छे प्राइस में मिलेंगे और हलाल ज़बीहा मीट भी मिलेगा। दाम मनपसंद, नाम मनपसंद, तो फिर क्यों ना जाए मनपसंद? Located at Wilcrest Drive, Houston, North Highway and William Cannon Drive, Austin, Texas. तो नाम याद रखिएगा, मनपसंद सुपरमार्केट।
The Mexican coast of Mazatlan is being hit with heavy rain and strong winds as Tropical Storm Narda pounds the region. The system, with winds of 65 miles per hour, made landfall over the state of Oaxaca on Saturday and strengthened into a tropical storm as it moved northwest. Local media has reported one person has died from the impacts of the storm. Turning now locally, summer heat is still in our area, mostly warm and muggy today. We do have 2 cold fronts on the way, though. The first one really won't be changing things significantly, but the second one will be much stronger and should push through Monday, bringing fall temperatures next week. But until then, this is what the rest of your week will look like. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rocio De La Fe. Remember to download our NTV Houston app for more. We'll see you this evening.
Kashmir 7th Hum Awards, presented by Kashmir Cooking Oil. Come